What if everything you thought you knew about your life turned out to be a lie? What if the person you trusted most betrayed you in the most unimaginable way? My name is Amina, and I thought I had it all. I had a loving husband, a beautiful home, a future that seemed certain. But everything I believed in, everything I held dear, was about to be torn apart. You see, I uncovered a secret about my husband, Zaid, a secret that shattered my world in ways I never thought possible. I thought I knew him. I thought I understood him. But nothing could have prepared me for what I found. The betrayal was so vile, so unimaginable, it left me speechless. It changed everything in an instant. Before we get into this shocking story, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. You won't want to miss more true stories like this. I was raised in a traditional family, where values like respect, loyalty, and devotion were everything. My parents taught me the importance of family, the sanctity of marriage, and how love could overcome any challenge. Growing up, I imagined my future with someone who would share those same values, a partner who would be my equal, someone I could trust, someone who would protect me and love me unconditionally. Like many young women, I dreamed of a loving marriage, one that would be filled with happiness, stability, and mutual respect. When I met Zaid, it felt like I had found everything I had been looking for. He was charming, thoughtful, and always attentive. From the moment we started talking, I felt an instant connection. He would listen to my stories, my dreams, and my worries as if they were the most important things in the world. I never had to worry about being heard or understood. Zaid made me feel like I mattered, like I was the center of his universe. He was the kind of man who would surprise me with little acts of kindness, like bringing me my favorite flowers or planning spontaneous getaways, just to make me smile. We shared a deep connection, one that I thought was unbreakable. We got married a year later. Our wedding was everything I had imagined, beautiful, intimate, and filled with love. We moved into a small house together, a place we could call our own. I remember the first time we set foot in that house, how we looked at each other with excitement and anticipation. We had so many plans for the future, renovating the house, starting a family, growing old together. I believed we had it all. Our life was simple, but it was ours, and that's all that mattered. I felt safe, secure, and certain that nothing could ever break the life we were building together. Our days followed a routine that felt comforting. In the mornings, we would have breakfast together before Zaid left for work, and I would spend my day taking care of the house, planning for the future, and finding little ways to make our life better. In the evenings, we would sit down for dinner, talk about our day, and share our thoughts. Zaid always made me feel like I was the most important person in the world. He would listen to me, laugh at my jokes, and give me advice when I needed it. I trusted him completely. He was my rock, the one person I thought I could always rely on. We had everything, love, respect, and a future that seemed so certain. But over time, I began to notice small things that didn't add up. At first, I brushed them off as nothing more than stress or the natural ups and downs of life. Zaid would sometimes come home late, but he would always have an excuse: work, meetings, or helping a friend. I didn't think much of it at first. But then, the late nights became more frequent. His phone started to ring more often, but he would take the calls in private, stepping out of the room when I was nearby. I told myself it was just work-related, that he didn't want to disturb me with the details. But something in my gut told me otherwise. It wasn't just the late nights or the secretive phone calls. It was the way he began to withdraw. He wasn't as affectionate as he used to be, and there were times when I would catch him staring off into space, lost in thought. I tried to shake it off, but the unease began to grow, like a shadow I couldn't escape. There were moments when he would be sitting right next to me, yet it felt like he was miles away. I would try to engage him in conversation, but his responses were distant, as if his mind was somewhere else entirely. I noticed how he would often avoid eye contact, or how he would be quick to change the subject whenever I brought up anything personal or emotional. I tried to tell myself it was just a phase, that maybe he was dealing with something at work or had personal issues he didn't want to talk about. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I didn't want to believe it, but the feeling kept growing stronger, and I found myself questioning everything. Then there were the small, odd things that I couldn't explain away. His clothes sometimes smelled different, like a scent I didn't recognize. And when I would ask him about his day, there were moments when his answers didn't quite match up with what he had said earlier. I started to feel like I was living in a fog, unsure of what was real and what wasn't. I had no concrete evidence, just these strange, unsettling feelings. It was as if the man I had married, the man I thought I knew so well, was slipping away from me, and I didn't know why. I tried to ignore it at first, telling myself that it was just my imagination running wild. After all, we had a good life, right? We had love, we had a future. But no matter how hard I tried to push the thoughts away, they wouldn't go. There was something more, something I couldn't understand, and I was terrified of what it might mean. But even then, I couldn't have prepared myself for what I was about to discover. One evening, I came home early from visiting my mother. I hadn't expected to be home so soon, but something made me decide to leave earlier than planned. As soon as I stepped inside, I noticed something strange. The air felt thick, heavy, and there was an unfamiliar smell, something pungent, something wrong. It wasn't the usual scent of our home, the comforting smell of our kitchen or the fresh flowers Zaid would sometimes bring me. This was different. It was strong, unsettling, and I couldn't quite place it. I stood still for a moment, trying to figure out what it was. The house felt unusually quiet, and I couldn't hear Zaid's usual hum as he went about his day. My instincts told me something was off. I followed the smell, unable to ignore it, my curiosity getting the better of me. I walked down the hallway, past the living room, and then to a door I'd never paid much attention to before. A door that led to a small, unused room at the back of the house. I had no reason to ever go in there, but tonight, something pulled me toward it. When I opened the door, my world stopped. There, in the dim light of the room, I saw it, Zaid, my husband, with a pig. Yes, a pig. A sight so shocking, so utterly unbelievable, that I froze. I couldn't process what I was seeing. My mind raced, trying to make sense of it, but nothing made sense. The man I trusted, the man I had shared my life with, was standing there, not just with any animal, but with a pig. A creature that had no place in our home, in our lives. My heart raced. My breath caught in my throat. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. The room felt like it was closing in on me. How could this be happening? How could Zaid, the man I loved, the man I trusted more than anyone, be hiding something so vile, so unimaginable? I was paralyzed, unable to comprehend what was unfolding in front of me. The betrayal was so deep, so beyond anything I could have ever imagined, that I couldn't find the words to even confront him. I didn't wait. I couldn't. My body was trembling, my heart racing, my hands shaking as I stood there in the doorway, staring at Zaid and the pig. I felt a surge of anger and confusion rise up in me, and before I could stop myself, I demanded an explanation. Why? Why would you do this? What is this? My voice cracked with disbelief, but I couldn't stop the words from spilling out. The room felt suffocating, and the smell of the pig lingered in the air, making everything feel even more surreal. I needed answers, needed to understand what had led to this madness. Zaid didn't answer right away. He just stood there, frozen, like he was trying to find the right words, but couldn't. His eyes darted away from mine, unable to meet my gaze. I saw guilt in his face, but there was something else too, fear. Fear of what I would do, of what I would say. I could feel the weight of his silence pressing down on me, suffocating me. Finally, he spoke, but his words were empty, hollow, like they didn't belong to the man I thought I knew. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't control it, he said, his voice low and almost pleading. I've been doing this in secret for months. His words hit me like a slap to the face. Months? How could he have been hiding something like this for so long? How could he have been living a lie right under my nose? I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I had given him everything, my trust, my love, my loyalty. And this was what he had been doing behind my back. My hands clenched into fists, but I didn't know what to do with them. I wanted to scream, to run, to throw something, anything to release the anger building up inside me. But all I could do was stand there, paralyzed, as the weight of his betrayal sank in. My heart felt like it was breaking, but there was no sound. No tears. Just a deep, aching emptiness. How could I stay with a man who had betrayed me like this? How could I trust him again after what he had done? My life, the future I had imagined, everything I had built with him, was it all a lie? Was I just a fool? I felt like I was losing everything. The life I thought I knew, the man I thought I loved, all of it was slipping away from me. I didn't know what to do, where to go. My mind raced, but I couldn't find any answers. All I could feel was the crushing weight of his betrayal, and the realization that my world had been shattered. I knew what I had to do, but that didn't make it any easier. I made the hardest decision of my life. I left. I couldn't stay in a house where trust had been shattered, where the man I had loved had torn apart everything we had built. The life I thought I knew was a lie, and I couldn't live in that lie anymore. The love, the devotion, it all felt meaningless in the face of what he had done. I packed my things in silence, my hands moving mechanically, as if my body was doing the work while my mind struggled to catch up. I didn't look at Zaid as I gathered my belongings. I couldn't bear to see the man who had once been my world now reduced to a stranger. The house that once felt like a sanctuary now felt like a prison. Every corner, every room reminded me of the betrayal, of the secrets he had hidden from me. I couldn't stay. I wouldn't stay. Zaid didn't stop me. He just stood there, watching helplessly, his eyes filled with regret. He knew, deep down, that he had lost me. He knew that no matter how much he begged or apologized, it would never be the same. The man I had once loved so deeply could never be the same to me again. The damage was done, and there was no going back. As I walked out of that door, I felt a strange sense of empowerment. I was broken, yes, but I was also free. Free from the lies, free from the betrayal. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew one thing for certain: I could never go back to the life I had with Zaid. The man I had trusted was gone, and all that was left was the wreckage of a love that could never be repaired. The silence between us spoke volumes. Zaid had lost everything, and I had gained my freedom. But as I closed the door behind me, I couldn't help but wonder, what would become of him now? Months have passed since that day, and though the memories of what happened still linger in the back of my mind, I'm learning to heal. It hasn't been easy. Some days, the weight of the betrayal feels just as heavy as it did the moment I discovered the truth. But with each passing day, I am learning to rebuild my life. The pain still haunts me, but I've come to realize that I am stronger than I ever thought possible. I've started to rediscover parts of myself that I had lost in the midst of the hurt. I've learned to trust myself again, to trust my own instincts, and to believe that I am worthy of love and respect. The journey hasn't been perfect, and there are still days when I feel lost or broken. But I know now that I have the power to heal, to move forward, and to create a life that is truly mine. Infidelity comes in many forms. It's not always just the physical betrayal, it's the lies, the secrets, the broken trust. It's the moments when everything you thought you knew about the person you loved turns out to be a lie. But even in the darkest moments, we all have the power to choose our own path. We have the strength to rebuild, to reclaim our lives, and to move forward. Our past doesn't define us, it's what we do with the future that matters. As I look ahead, I know that I am capable of more than I ever realized. And for anyone out there who's been hurt, who's felt lost or betrayed, know this: you are not alone. You have the power to heal, to grow, and to reclaim your life. The strength to move on is within you. And just like me, you'll find your way back to happiness, even if it takes time. Thank you for watching my story. If you've ever been betrayed or found yourself in a similar situation, remember, you are not alone. I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts or experiences. It's important to know that we can heal together and support each other through these difficult times. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss more powerful stories like this. Your support truly means the world to me and helps keep these stories going. Stay tuned for more true stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.